welcome everybody. We've got our April customer of the month, and it is Exact Scientific Services, Inc. And we are here with Andrew Ferry. And Andrew, welcome and congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's an honor, honestly.
Tell us a little bit about Exact Scientific Services and your specific role at the company.
Exact Scientific Services is a third-party testing lab. We run analyses, biological, chemical, organic, molecular biology on all kinds of samples, from food to dietary supplements to nutraceuticals. If it exists, we can do our best to test it. It was founded in 2005 as a micro lab, and we've slowly added other fields over time. And I am the director of organic chemistry, so I run our organic chemistry lab, which contains a fleet of HPLCs, GCs, one GCM SMS, and one LCM SMS.
Did you study chemistry in college? Tell us a little more about your career path.
Absolutely. I went to Tennessee Technological University in Cookeville, Tennessee. Wings up.
All right, shout out.
And got a bachelor's degree in environmental soil chemistry. I spent a good amount of time working with instrumentation. Did some graduate studies there as well, focusing on radiochemicals, uranium extractions. Also spent a good amount of time with instrumentation, HPLCs, NMR, all that good stuff. So it prepared me well for this job. This is actually my first job in chemistry. I started as an organic chemist and was in that position for about 2.5 years. And then they offered me the position of director of organic chemistry. I have Tennessee Tech to thank for it, that's for sure. And obviously Exact Scientific, which is a fantastic place to work.
And that leads me into my next question, which, what makes Exact Scientific Services so awesome?
I'll answer this in two ways. One, from an employee's perspective, this is a fantastic business to work for. We are an employee stock-owned company, so we are an ESOP, which means that those of us who work here earn stock in the company as we work. We are all part owners, and that really makes it special because, you know, the work that you put in is not just for some horrible like corporate overlord. You're honestly working to, you know, better your own company, whether you're a tech or the lab director and everyone in between. You know that you have a common goal in mind, and you know you're treated really, really well here. Honestly, you're never going to find a better place to work. Second, from a client perspective, I firmly believe that our results are of the highest quality, the highest caliber. We strive to ensure that we meet the expectations of our clients and that we get the turnaround times necessary, that we produce good, accurate, defensible results. And I think it really shows. We go the extra mile for our clientele.
So you talked in the beginning about how the company's been around since 2005. So that's 17 years in business. I know you haven't been there all 17, but as a commercial lab, you know, things are changing and evolving. What trends are you seeing? Any you know, in terms of the research laboratory setup, like just as what are you seeing as far as trends?
I would say in the industry, obviously, I think a lot of commercial labs and third-party labs like us have to meet the expectations of our clients that are shifting because of changes in regulation. So you see a lot of additional regulations being added on, especially through Amazon. Amazon's really cracking down on a lot more testing is required. Basically, you know, you used to be able to kind of just post anything you wanted on Amazon, but nowadays you have to have potency testing. You have to make sure that, you know, heavy metals are below the, you know, daily limits, that there's no adulterants in any of the herbal supplements, for example. And as those regulations increase, we want to be there for our clients so that we can give them what they need. So when Amazon comes out with a new requirement, they say, hey, we need this, or the EPA or any sort of government organization comes out and says you need this testing. Pesticides, for instance, USP 561, very common pesticide panel that's being pushed pretty hard right now. We're working on getting that all the way up and running. We're very close. So there's a lot of regulations to deal with, and that's kind of the driving force behind a lot of the research and development that we do here, is meeting client needs regarding regulations, whether it be Amazon or some other government organization.
Talk to me about your lab and your favorite and essential instrument. What's your workhorse? Give our audience a little overview of the lab at Exact, please.
Absolutely. So as I had mentioned, we have a fleet of HPLCs and GCs. I came from the LC side, so I'm a bit partial to, we have a one real workhorse. We call him Oscar. A lot of our HPLCs are all named after like Sesame Street characters. Oscar's my favorite. He's an HPLC, and he has two detectors. There's a polydiode array detector, or a DAD detector, as well as a refractive index detector. And we can run, I don't know, you talk sugars on the refractive index, or B vitamins, vitamin C, water solubles, things like that on the DAD. He's just my favorite because he never breaks down. You can't kill that guy. He just goes and goes. Number two, I'm going to put the LCMS, which is from GenTech, by the way. It's a fantastic instrument.
Okay, and what's the name of this LCMS?
It's Snuffleupagus because he's big. He's really big. Yeah.
You guys have been a GenTech customer for several years. You've been a great company to work with. Do you recall either what first led you personally, or what first led your lab to reach out or engage with GenTech?
Yeah, absolutely. It was just a couple years before I started. We were expanding the organic chemistry lab. It's kind of the last push that we were making into developing as a holistic commercial lab. Had micro, added some basic chemistry, added molecular biology, and then we made a really big push into organic. And the very first instrumentation that we bought from GenTech was to start testing like EPA waters testing. We bought a GC, a purge and trap GCMS for VOCs, TTHMs, things like that, and that workhorse is still going, and it made us a good bit of money, and it is a very reliable piece of instrumentation. The LCMS, we also purchased from you guys, I think maybe a year later, when we were trying to finish that push, and it is a workhorse in itself. Anything from amino acids to we run a method for ethoxyquin. We have an adulteration panel that we run for Amazon on that guy. And we also use him as an IDing instrument. So we kind of fingerprint mass spectra, overlay them with standards, which is really nice, real workhorse. But that's where we got started with GenTech. The Purge and Trap GC followed by the LCMS, and they're both downstairs plugging away.
Okay, that's awesome. Did you have any like specific problems that, I feel like we did like a little pre interview, and you're like, you guys have gotten us out of a couple of jams, anything
Yes.
specific you want to share would be great.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's one of the best parts about GenTech is whenever you do have an issue, you guys are more, more customer oriented almost than we are. For instance, we have another GC setup that was supplied by GenTech. I believe it's a GC with a mass spec on the front end and a fit on the back end, and we had a power surge. Thankfully, the instrument was just fine. It was on a surge protector, but we did not have the foresight to put the computer on a surge protector. And unfortunately, that fried the actual hard drive on the computer. And we were in bad shape at that point. We've got a fully functional instrument. It's a workhorse for us. It does a lot of different testing. We unfortunately lost that computer entirely. The hard drive was fried. We were unable to recover anything from it. And we were kind of at a loss. We had no way to operate this workhorse of an instrument anymore. Gave GenTech a call, and we had an entirely new data system sent out next day air the next day. I'm talking about a downtime of maybe 2 or 3 days, and I just don't know what other company out there is going to be able to keep your. It was perfect. We were able to just bring that new computer in, have it plugged up, and then you guys were able to remote in and everything connected. I may be a chemist, but I'm not a computer scientist. I have a little bit of problems getting instruments to communicate with computers, but you guys were able to do it in, I don't know, 5 minutes as remoting in. So, we can always depend on you guys to come out here. We've had issues with our LCMS before, just doing normal PTs. And it's always so easy to come to you guys, schedule that maintenance, and have you guys come out, and it's just easy. It's just perfect. It's so nice to work with.
That's such a nice compliment. And I guess one thing I will emphasize is you guys are in Washington State, and
Yeah.
GenTech is in New York State. So a lot of times I'll ask customers, we've done some local shout outs, and they're like, "Oh, we love that you can just drive over here in 20 minutes." But the fact that we can remote in, that we will do a team viewer session, that we can, be responsive, and get someone in person if needed, to somebody all the way on the West Coast, I think is a great thing to emphasize. So that's awesome. So what is your absolute favorite thing about working with GenTech?
I mean, it's either the very quick response time, or you feel personally like connected to people, right? If I have an issue, I know I can go to Alexis Howell right now, give her a call, shoot her an email, and she knows who I am. She knows my equipment. She knows Exact Scientific, and it's that customer service and that quick customer service. That's got to be the favorite part, obviously.
And Alexis Howell was the one who nominated you for Customer of the Month. So I know she feels the same way about Exact.
Thanks,
Um,
Alexis.
Any tips? I think one of them is get a surge protector for your computer, but any additional tips you want to share with the GenTech audience for those in a similar role as yours? Anything you wish you knew, or tips for other people who are working in your industry?
I would say I think a strong understanding of chemistry is kind of an undervalued thing in the world. There's a lot to be said for a good Google Scholar search, but there's something else behind cracking open a textbook or a couple textbooks and reading through what the instrument is doing. You can only go so far when you're troubleshooting an instrument, and you're relying on Google searches or something like that. You really need to understand what the instrument is doing. How is this detection happening? What is actually going on? What does the inside of this detector look like, or what does the inside of this pump look like? And I think honestly, to buy a few instrumental chemistry textbooks and flip through them is an undervalued thing in a society that has the internet. Not to say that chemistry is unapproachable to those who don't have formal training, but I think sitting down, cracking open a few textbooks, and reading through sections on detectors and pumps can do you a lot of good, because if you understand the minutia of what's going on in each of the modules of an instrument, you're going to be able to understand what's going on when you're troubleshooting an instrument. Research and development is going to move a lot quicker because you can diagnose issues with chromatograms, for instance, and obviously mass specs are very large, complicated instruments, and having a good, solid understanding of basic instrumental chemistry is invaluable.
Would you recommend GenTech to others, and why?
Of course. Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah. You guys are the right price point. You're friendly, you're quick, and you're there. It's not just, all right, you purchase the instruments, here you go, they're set up, they're running, see you later. It's okay. If you have a problem, come to us. We'll fix it. We'll remote in. We'll give you that support, that extra step that you don't always get if you go to a competitor and you purchase some discount object from somebody else. You get the whole package. It's set up, it's IQ OQ'd, and you're ready to go with continued support if necessary. That's you can't ask for more than that.
Anything new or exciting on the horizon? You guys hiring? You got anything that you want to tell our audience about? Anything that you want to promote?
We're always open to receive resumes and keep them on. We're growing exponentially. I believe when I was hired, I was somewhere around the 35th employee, and we're pushing 50 now. So
Okay.
we have a lot of growth. So if you're looking for a lab, we hire somebody. It feels like every month at this point. So, but I don't think we have any currently open positions. But boy howdy, we hire a lot of people.
Okay, so anyone in Washington State who's interested in chemistry and labs, keep these guys on your radar as an elite lab to try to get into. Perfect. So we are going to move into the exciting lightning round. But before we do that, I want to present Andrew with this awesome plaque. Yes, it's handmade by a local artist here in Arcade Parker. So we are going to put this in the mail and get this out to you guys this afternoon. So display it with pride. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sweet plaque. All right, cool. Now we get to know the real Andrew here with our lightning round. Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Window or aisle?
Ooh, aisle.
Okay. Dogs or cats?
Both.
Andrew.
Gun to my head. Dogs.
We'll let it. Okay, dogs. All right. Book or a movie?
Movie.
Okay. Country or city?
I'm gonna go country.
Are you like a big picture guy or are you like super detail orientated?
Detail oriented.
All my scientist chemists have a tendency to answer that way.
Mm.
Would you rather go camping or spend a night at the Ritz?
Ooh, camping. Absolutely camping.
All right. Are you an early riser or are you a night owl?
Night owl.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
All right. And our last question, because we always try to make them somewhat personal to the geography, because you are in Washington State, are you a fan of the show Grey's Anatomy?
I am not a fan of the show Grey's Anatomy, but my significant other is.
Okay. So that's sort of a half point. All right. Awesome. So that concludes our interview and our lightning round. And we just want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk to our audience about all the stuff that's going on at your lab and being a GenTech customer. And we really appreciate your business. And thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thanks, Yvette. Appreciate it.